Are you ready, CC?
I'm ready now.
All right.
I'm ready.
What's up, everyone? Jeremy Long here. Welcome to Levels, Boxing and MMA amongst the burning down of the world. I am joined, as always, by the Sportsnista, Cassandra Cusino. CC, where the heck were you just a second ago, and how are you?
I had to go and share the show. I don't have my phone, so I've got my phone. Hey, listen, I'm herding cats. I'm juggling knives. Like, whatever it is that's dangerous, I'm doing it right now.
Okay, good. Good for you. You know what? First question out of the gate. How are you handling quarantining with your children are in studio with them? They're being very good, by the way. But how are you handling this whole thing?
I'm overwhelmed. It's bananas right now. I mean, essentially we're homeschooling a kindergartner and a second grader, and I legit have work to do during the day. So it ain't easy, Rufus. It ain't. If I drank, I'd be drunk.
Oh, come on. It can't be that hard. Your children are very good.
Well, only because I care, right? If I didn't care, then, it'd be easy.
A lot of people going to have feelings about that.
It'd be easy, but
they're going to have feelings about that statement.
I'm wringing out every little bit of instruction during the day. So the teacher sent home packets. We have some virtual things. He's doing virtual Taekwondo classes as well. But so I was like, hey, I want them to continue to write. So, because if anything they get from their mama, it's going to be knowing how to write. So I made them get a piece of construction paper, fold it like it was a book cover, and I said, okay, draw me a picture, and it's the title of your book, but I don't want you to put the words. I need to be able to know what the title is by looking at it. You need to use a person and food. So, for example, mine was the boy who hated pizza, because I can draw stick figures and I can draw a slice of pizza and a not sign. So,
all right.
So they're going to be writing a story for me in addition to the other work, right? Why would I do that to myself?
You care about your children's well-being and their future.
Do a worksheet.
Right? Do a worksheet. Do this Bob the Builder worksheet. Man. Whatever kids watch these days.
How old? Your youngest, though, is in high school.
She's 15.
Oh, yeah. So she's self-sufficient.
Yeah,
Giving you stink eye, doing whatever.
All the time. Well, it's sad, as they grow older, you get more suspicious the nicer they are to you. And so anytime she's like, hey, Dad, I'm like,
how much it's going to cost me?
What do you want?
Or what you do?
Leave me alone. You and your mother have taken everything from me. Just leave me be. Let me sit in my chair and just, mumble to myself like I usually do. So, it's good. We're making it the best we can, and hopefully we'll entertain you for the next, a few minutes. Hey, however long the internet lasts here. But Quan, good to see you, my friend. We were worried we wouldn't have any sports to talk about, and it's still a little bit difficult. I mean, especially when we're drilled in as far as boxing and MMA is concerned. But we do have bits of news coming up, and we have some videos to share and things like that. So, and some interesting tidbits. So we'll just hop right in there. First things first, I guess the bigger news that kind of broke amongst the whatever you want to call this, the whole world thing. Triple G, Canelo 3 is. They've decided this is going to happen. Yeah. What were your thoughts? What are you hearing as far as what this fight is going to entail and where it's going to be and things like that?
Yeah, well, they had to do it. I mean, DAZN only gave Canelo all that money and Gennady that money so that they can fight each other. They're not paying Canelo to fight Billy Joe Saunders.
Right.
I'm hearing it's going to be in Eddie Hearn's favorite place, Saudi Arabia. Oh. So for now,
he's got a home there.
Yeah, he probably does.
Yeah.
For now, we'll see. Right now the world is broken, so who knows what's happening.
Triple G, Canelo. I mean, first thoughts. I mean, I know the first one was a controversial draw. The second one, Canelo won pretty handily. Thoughts on this third one? I mean, is it kind of one of those last grabs? I mean, there's Canelo's kind of in that prime, and Triple G is now moved out of that prime, even though he was a little bit older when they fought the first time as well. So expectations of this? Should we lower those expectations?
Yep.
For this one?
Yep. I would say good for Gennady to have this. He really wanted this fight again, and he's earned it. Depending on if Canelo takes on any damage from Saunders, then he's at risk.
Come on.
You know, although, so Billy Joe, he's a mover, and
Yeah.
Canelo is shown to have some trouble with fighters who can move. So that is his best bet, is to get in there and move as much as possible.
Well, he needs those Kovalets to stand right in front of him and jab him all day and then just take a massive
like some
right hand.
hanging meat.
But
I expect Canelo to win that fight.
Pretty
might
easy.
even knock him out,
Maybe.
depending on how much movement or lack of movement Gennady has. But
because the last couple of fights Gennady has had, he has not looked like the world beater that we thought he was going into the first Canelo fight.
Yeah.
Certainly, I mean, since then having some trouble with some low hanging fruit, which kind of makes you worried about this last one, this next one here. Other news, a little bit. I'm gonna break you in here with some WWE news, right?
Oh, okay.
For the first time ever, Wrestlemania is going to be held on two separate nights, a part 1 and a part 2, basically, in front of no fans, at the WWE's basically their performance center, kind of like the Apex here for UFC.
What city is that in?
I want to say Florida.
Of course.
I want to say Florida.
I bet you're right. It's got to be in Florida.
And it's going to be hosted by none other than Rob Gronkowski, the New England Patriots tight end, who is, I'm guessing he signed a new deal with WWE, which I'm trying to see if they've confirmed that yet, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's gone ahead and signed. They haven't released the details yet.
That's great for Rob. Isn't that a natural fit?
It really is. You know, the biggest question is also going to be kind of what they had with Ronda Rousey. How fast is he going to adapt? Because this isn't a deal where he's going to be like a special guest that comes in every couple of weeks.
He's going to bust a chair somewhere.
No. He's going to be wrestling. So how quickly can he acclimate himself to the world of professional wrestling?
It's a different. See, Ronda could actually. She has skill set that would match.
She had a skill set that translated to that world. Robbie boy, he's got the personality. He's larger than life, and he is an elite athlete.
You got a bad neck and a bad back, though, right?
Yeah, but even bad necks and backs on a elite athlete.
My neck, my back.
Oh, okay.
Quan, you know that song.
Quan produced that song.
Never heard it before. Sing the rest. Were you in that video?
Shut up.
Sorry,
do you recall the video, man? Woo!
No, I was raised in a nice Christian home.
There was no editing in that video whatsoever. Every blemish that was ever earned was on full display there. Full display.
Now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna have to check that out later.
My neck, my back.
And then I need to clear my browsing.
All those screencasting on the TV right now. So while you guys are doing the show, you guys can watch it with the kids.
Let me tell you, they were listening to he was listening to some song, and I was like, put the needle on the record. I'm like, dude, there's some things that you just can't do till you're grown up. One is listen to songs like that.
Two is watch certain Kanye videos.
That's your mama, maybe.
Mama will sit you down later in life.
I was just like, did he say?
Oh, man. So it's going to be a 2-night event. First night on Saturday, April 4th. Second night, strangely enough, on Sunday, April 5th on WWE Network. And
you know who's mad about that? Who's seething right now?
Who?
Dana White. Dana got to be hot as fish grease about that. You
What?
know? Because he has a facility here to have
he
his
doesn't
events.
get to have his events.
That's right.
And I want my way.
That's right.
How is WWE pulling it off?
Because it's Florida, and Florida gives nuns about public safety. They got people frolicking on a beach right now.
That is true. I saw those idiots. I mean, like, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. No big problem, bruh. Like, okay, bro.
Right.
But if the government steps in, it could still get canceled. So I really don't think it's going to happen.
I just can't. Because you got to test. So unless they can test the fighters, if they can get tests for everybody who's stepping foot into that event, I don't really have a problem with it.
Sure.
But then those people also have to agree to pay for their own testing in X amount of weeks after that in case they were exposed there. There's got to be a lot of kind of gates and precautions that they need to take.
Yeah. Other words, money.
Yeah,
It's going to come down to money.
And do you think they should do something, because when we talked about the UFC with no crowd, to just at least make a crowd sound effects?
You
just
know,
to make it sound better.
It's very surreal. Now, UFC, we were kind of talking about this. UFC, we were kind of we've gotten used to. We had the reality show, the Ultimate Fighter, where they fought in a close set and everything, and it was just the fighters in there. We've seen Dana White's Contender Series, which is the same setup. Very few, mostly friends and family or whatever. No big crowd.
You can hear the cracks.
And so when we saw the fights from last weekend, it kind of harkened back to that. It was a little weird. Like I think I even texted you guys or even put it online. You know, the fighters are such mental machines. When they were being introduced, they're all waving. They're waving. I'm like, who the hell are they waving to? Because it's not like they were looking at their corner like, hey guys, hey, we got this. They were actually waving. I'm like,
hey, nobody.
And not even to the camera. They weren't like, hey, mom and dad back home. They were like, hey, look, I'm waving to no one, which I thought was the funniest thing.
That is hilarious.
I did see a part of WWE's live broadcast of, I believe, SmackDown or Raw, one of them, with no audience. Professional wrestling is a different beast. You got to have some kind of...
You don't have coaches in the corner.
Sound effects or something, because I watched some segment with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Becky Lynch.
I have no
This
idea.
whole segment where they... I can't even explain the segment. I don't even know what the segment was about. Basically, they were hyping up WrestleMania. I'm guessing that's what they were doing. But it looked so weird, and it sounded so... I mean, you have to suspend belief anyway when you watch WWE. It's scripted action, right? It's a male soap opera or whatever. But when you take all the sound and you take the crowd out of it, and they're just kind of play kicking and play slapping each other around, it's a little, wow, man. I kind of watched it for the first time in a long time. I was like, oh, this is like really terrible. Like, they should just cancel this and redo it, or just say it ain't gonna happen this year. But I mean, did you catch any of it?
I haven't watched any wrestling yet.
Wow.
Because with the fake stuff, a lot of it is hidden with the crowd noise and the screaming and all that. So I don't know how you would do that, because
how are they gonna whisper to each other? You know,
I don't
that's
know.
hard.
I don't know.
Suplex,
like, I'm telling you, man, and I'll probably have to forward this. I was trying to find it, but I'll probably have to forward this to you guys later. But it is super, like, it's already awkward. You have to suspend belief there. But to watch it like that was just, and they're still coming out motioning and everything else. The weird thing is that WWE set up chairs. They set up folding chairs, like 3 and 4 rows deep, at their Apex Center, not Apex Center, whatever their Apex Center is. They set it up for people to, like, this is where the fans would sit. And I guess that's the normal configuration, but it just looks really awkward because they got the lights going, they got the lights pulled up, and it's just empty chairs, and you're just like, at least the UFC darkens the arena and keeps the focus on the action.
Right, because you couldn't see anything. Well, you know what they should do? They should do like the old Batman TV show did, like boom and pow, like put like the cartoon like clouds in front of them, even thought bubbles. Like, should I do this? Like, they should
for the
like,
old. They should have the
cartoon it
old divas come out and just hold up cards. Anytime there's a big move, they should be like, "Oh, boom!" Just turn around and be like,
They should
"Boom!"
just do that. They
Like
should
the
put-
UFC girls, they should cross promote. Oops, I smacked my mic here. They should cross promote. Absolutely.
They should just, but also put some animation on the screen. Like, you big dummy, like that kind of stuff. Like, totally. Like, hey, what else
it's
y'all
just
got to
incredibly
do?
painful, man. It's
Yeesh.
incredibly painful to watch.
Speaking of painful, listen to this. Watch. I don't know if y'all can get this. You hear that? Listen.
Are you drinking a hummingbird? What are you doing? Is there a
This
bird in there?
Stupidest water bottle ever invented. Yeah, obviously there's like air like coming through something. I don't even know.
It didn't do it that time.
Yeah, because there's like a little pocket up there. Yeah, but how stupid is that?
Yeah.
It's infuriating. Like, I cannot even like have water in this thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a byproduct of this quarantining thing. We're starting to notice things we never noticed before, and it's really starting to drive people crazy.
Like, what in the world? Like, yeah, there's certain people in the house where you're like, you breathe, like you, like you still breathing in here.
That is definitely a married thing because my wife has had that talk with me, and now she told me today before I actually came to the studio.
Say something like that.
She goes, you know what I noticed about you? And I'm like, oh, this is the first in a series of conversations. She was like, when you get up in the morning, yeah, I stumble downstairs, and she was like, you make coffee. Sometimes I make coffee right away. Sometimes I don't. But she's like, whenever you're getting your coffee or whatever, she goes, you just roam around the house. Like you go to the back door and look around. You go to the front door and look around. You walk in the office and just like, I'm like, I said, yeah, I do that. I like
you exist in here.
I just look around. I'm like, oh, like I'm high or something. I don't know. Like, tell me I can leave this room. You know, like I don't know where I'm waking up. And I say it's probably just years of wild hedonism. You know, in my early 20s, and now I'm used to waking up going, where am I? I look at her sometimes. I'm like, who are you? Yeah,
God,
you're pretty.
So
I'll keep
funny.
you. I'll keep you. You know,
You
she's
got
like,
key around here?
There's some Las Vegas combat sports news though. There's an event happening this weekend in combat sports. There's a small venue off of Western and Oki where they're going to be doing nude hand sanitizer wrestling at Little Darlings.
Oh, hey. I drove past Little Darlings. I drove past it and I looked at the little drive-thru. Like, have you seen this?
They have a truck, right?
It's not even like a real like drive-thru. It's like a spot in the parking lot. You pull up.
So let's bring it back. So the last day or so, Little Darlings here,
It's a
little
strip club.
Strip club. It's a fully nude strip club, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank God for Vegas, right? So a fully nude strip club, and they said
they promote to the graduates
every year.
Every May.
Every May they promote now interviewing, 2020 high school graduates or whatever.
Are you for real?
Oh yeah.
Now interviewing interviewing the class of 2020 or whatever.
You could script when you're 18.
Yeah, it's a Vegas. Girl.
But they serve alcohol.
No, not at the all nude clubs.
Yep.
Oh, see, to tell you how long it's been.
There you go. So it's a bit. Okay, we'll circle back down to that. So anyway, so they offered, you can't go to any of these establishments. So what they said was, we're gonna have drive-through strip shows, and then they said they were doing all nude wrestling with hand sanitizer, which
okay,
so they're going to be covered with hand sanitizer.
This you get sanitizer in the wrong places.
I'm just saying, it's alcohol.
It's gonna burn.
That's gonna burn.
Like, and you don't know, like, so you're wrestling, you could get some cuts or scrapes, and then all of a sudden,
every man here that has gone through puberty knows exactly what we're talking about.
God, okay.
With the things,
I'm good at
burning.
math. 1 + 1 = that. Figured that out.
Wow.
What the ham sandwich? How you gonna? I don't want to know. Somebody let us know.
Part of me
how that's done.
Part of me thinks we should finance a trip through the drive-thru.
Well, we actually got media credentials for that event, so we'll all be going down there.
Of course, we.
The Sportsnista.
We is too many people. I ain't going.
She will be doing one-on-one interviews.
I ain't going.
With the girls.
My microphone. Listen, I'm practicing.
We is too many.
We is too many people. My microphone don't belong in places like that.
Well, don't you have one of those reporter ones, the long ones that you could stick through the window? A boom mic.
I have access to a long one.
You do, huh?
Yeah, I've got access to a long one. I've come in contact with a few.
Hey.
A few. I'm just saying.
I got access to an average one. Standard size.
This is what has
standard
happened.
shape.
Can you imagine? Our brains are gone. This is your brain on coronavirus.
It's really on Lysol.
It's the Lysol.
We are high on Lysol.
He's spraying so much.
I had to put a bubble around the children. First thing that happened in the first 2 minutes, you sit down. The boy starts to sneeze. He's got allergies, but can't be too careful.
The boy starts to sneeze.
Little boy.
Let's look. Okay, let's.
There's stuff happening in the world.
if we can here. Let's kind of recap. Let's look at this the UFC card that did just happen in Brazil. How do you continue on with this? We'll look at just the main card here. Johnny Walker, man. Oh, what a downward slope this guy is.
He looked terrible too.
He looked really, really bad in this fight against Nikita Krylov.
Like, he looked tired. He looked like he didn't have the intellect to actually think and to get to the next move. He just looked outclassed.
Maybe a bad weight cut or something. I mean, you go those bad weight cuts and athletes will tell you it saps your energy, and even when you rehydrate to a certain degree, you can't get it back. And you're talking about brain fluid. You're talking about all kinds of things that you have to get back into your body, and look really terrible overall. I mean, I thought it was a pretty decent night of fights there,
except for the main event.
Except for the main event. I like the main event.
One me.
I like the main event.
Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee.
What's next for Kevin Lee? I mean, I didn't check after the fight if the next day or even hours afterward did he realize he actually tapped. Did he admit he tapped?
I don't. You know what? I didn't go on Twitter. Usually that's where fighters vent whatever their frustrations are. But he got tapped so quick and so hard. He obviously tapped.
Yeah.
And they stopped the fight, and then he was pissed that they stopped the fight because he was like, "I didn't tap."
Yeah,
like, no, you clearly tapped, my friend. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even the. Remember, fighters used to always do the phantom taps. Mm-hmm. They would try to do that to get guys to release the holds, but not do it so obvious that the ref would see it or whatever.
I was playing.
That was kind of one of those inside things that they used to do or whatever. And some guys would get caught, and other guys wouldn't.
Yeah, clearly it was lack of oxygen, and so. But Kevin Lee, he's gifted, naturally gifted. Mm-hmm. He's gone through a couple of trainers now. So he left Dewey, and I don't remember who he took into this new, this previous fight, but.
Right.
He has the talent. I think he just really needs a serious mental breakthrough, or else he's going to just be a gatekeeper. Yeah. I mean, talk about a guy who could have been a champion.
Yeah, and still might one day. I mean, he's got the, like you're alluding to, I mean, he's obviously got the physical tools. Yeah. I mean, he came into this fight, I believe, ranked 8th, right. Top 10, fighter in that lightweight division. And he's always kind of been one of those guys that's knocked on the door. Mm-hmm. Yeah. His brother fights, I believe, Bellator. Yep. I think he signed with Bellator.
Yeah, he's also training with Dewey Cooper.
Yeah, and I'm about to mention someone's name. We used to run into him at Keith Lee at UFC Gym Green Valley. Mm-hmm. So way down on the other side of the city and everything, and some two really talented guys, So physically, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think you start hitting those elite levels. Charles Oliveira is not Oliveira is not a easy out for anybody. No. And he's another one of those guys that he'll string 2 or 3 together and drop one. And, I think it shows you how tough, those upper echelons really are. So when you see guys flying through these guys, Kevin Lee's and, people like that, they're really, really talented. And they're really, really tough out. So
they just need to build up their name. But is Kevin Lee done at lightweight? I mean, is that the problem?
I think it would serve him best to at least explore the options. Mm-hmm. Maybe see where that takes him. But I mean, the first round and a half, he looked good. Yeah. I mean, his strikes he was landing.
And with this fight, when he actually got choked out, he's the one that jumped into him trying to take him down. And I thought that was a mistake right when he did it.
Well, he got rocked.
And he got caught.
Yeah. He got rocked. I mean, Charles hit him with a couple of uppercuts. I think the uppercut, he was landing all 3 rounds. He was landing with that uppercut. And when Oliveira backed him up against the cage, he hit him. I think it rocked him a little bit.
Yeah.
And instantly what wrestlers do, what most fighters do, is if they had that wrestling background, you get rocked. You go for a takedown. Takedown gives you time to clear the cobwebs, get you some rest, or, get some breath anyway. That stops those punches to the face normally. But he jumped right in, and it looked like he probably could have been stopped on his feet another few shots because he was getting combinations thrown on him at that time.
He was doing the stanky leg
he was.
Any moment. But I did like his new haircut. I thought that it was...
He looked really good. He did. Marketing guy, I mean, there you go. If you can win it, you'll pull it together and go to a title fight. That's extra money.
Young lad. You know, was he the one? There was a photo of like a possible staph infection. I think that was him.
Was it him?
Yeah.
Oh
He'd
yeah.
been battling some
Because
stuff.
they for a while there it was they didn't know if the fight was going to go on, the main event was going to go on because I think he was battling something. The co-main event also another good little. It was quick, but a good little scrap. Gilbert Burns, Damian Maya. Where does Damian Maya go from here? I know he's not going to hang it up. He's going to want to keep going, but he got absolutely
Bellator.
starched.
He goes to Bellator.
You think so? 40? Is he 40? 42?
Yeah, I mean, how many 40-year-olds does UFC need on its roster that are not winning?
Yeah.
At this point.
Does he have one more under contract though?
I think
He's
so.
got one or
There's
two.
one more.
Does he have?
Because he's talking about fighting. Who was he talking about? I think Cowboy or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
He wanted to fight Cowboy for his last fight.
At lightweight.
Yeah, loser leaves town match.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
Or both of them
Yeah.
lose. I mean, UFC's never going to let.
Oh, Cowboy.
Cowboy.
Nah.
That's Dana's boy, so I don't think that's going to happen. But overall, pretty solid. Pretty solid card. I mean, Brazil.
Yeah.
Stacked with Brazilian fighters doing their Brazilian thing. Except for let's talk about the weird reaction from what was that guy's name?
Which one?
Darn. He had the weird reaction. He seemed really pissed off after he beat the guy.
Oh, right. He said you shouldn't have submitted me. Something like that. There was like that exchange.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
shouldn't have submitted
I
me
wanted to
that
fight
quickly.
more, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have
Right.
submitted me." I forget which guy it was now.
I saw the video. I don't know.
Oh darn it! Man.
Yeah, I was writing during that.
Is
whole
it
thing,
Renato?
so
It was
I-
the third fight. Moicano. I'm sure
Was it
I'm
Moicano?
destroying. He submitted him in 44 seconds.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
pissed off and stood
"Why don't
over
you
him
fight
and,
more?" And he's
and
like,
was yelling at the crowd. He was pissed. He was like, "I'm pissed because my family members and my teammates aren't here, and I don't see anybody in the stands." And they were like, he was-
MF, you
and,
won. You won.
old guy was like,
I kept checking.
yeah, it's kind of a disease going around.
All over the world.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Really funny, really awkward exchange there, but
You know, I'm very surprised. We're seeing the NBA players that are testing positive. With the amount of bodily fluids shared by these athletes, ain't nobody tested positive. They just ain't tested.
are they
I
tested?
just can't believe. I just don't. I mean, there's people who like shart themselves in their
You know,
snot
I
rockets.
will say this though, being at plenty of gyms and places over the years, a lot of time gyms after the fact are some of the most sterile places
Mhm.
because they do wipe down the pads because
Yeah.
of mainly because of staph infections.
Right.
That's the scourge of these places. But so they mop and bucket and they
Mhm.
every gym every single night and everything. So that could be it. And
Man, with the
or
amount
I
of
think
staph infections you see with these UFC fighters, there's
Yep.
somebody always got a staph infection in there.
somebody's always
Like Quan had one. He don't even fight. So,
I don't even got a staff. over here solo.
Juan's got a couple of infections. We're not going to talk about these.
Little darlings. Lil, not
Nah.
little.
Lil.
It's Lil darling.
Lil.
Lil darling.
So going back to Little Darling,
I actually got some of the sanitizer they're going to use.
From
is he? What is this?
It says little darlings. It's a sanitizer they're going to use at the wrestling.
Does it really say
Don't.
Lil darling?
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
It's like they have their own.
There's no
Quan supply.
sanitizer in there.
Now
That's-
you know how they right. That's a
that's-
different kind of lubricant.
that's
in there.
Astroglide.
Whoa.
So they
That's
have
just
like, you know how you go into some restaurants and people have their own like wine cellar or wine lockers or whatever.
Sure.
Quan got his own like hand sanitizer locker. It's a bucket.
A bucket. I just fill up my little bottles.
One scoop at a time.
Life.
Just one scoop.
What is wrong? With
They're
us?
like, oh, it's
What's wrong with you?
I don't even know where to go.
I'm
So
hungry
you have
now,
some
huh?
videos. We got some videos
Yeah.
of the last couple of weeks, different fights, and you've caught up with different
Yeah.
fighters, MMA, boxing. I think we have some Tyson Fury. We got some Israel Adesanya. We got some
Adesanya.
um, all
Figure it
kinds
out.
of people. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start. So, speaking of hand sanitizer, Israel Adesanya was talking to the media, and he had a visitor in one of his nostrils. And one of the media members said, "You got a visitor in your nostril." And so he proceeded to go down a long rabbit hole of getting that out and wiping it on himself. I mean, he had a handler sitting right there. No one gave the man a tissue or a
The
wet
handler
wipe.
couldn't have reached
Or
up
like
there and dug in his
she
nose
couldn't
for him.
give him her hoodie or something. I don't know. To
Go ahead, wipe this
a
on my hoodie.
sock. And no, so he did that, and then he went down a rabbit hole of showing his nipple and talking about how women could not do that, but while like looking at me having that conversation. So,
Okay, let's check this out.
appreciate you, man.
Oh no. My bad. Oh shit, boogers. Sorry. Thank you. Good looking out. Hold up, let's get it out the way.
It's gonna be a gift now, isn't it?
Yeah. There you go. But yeah, it's gonna be a 5-0 shutout. That's how I see it. The rest, the other two, I'll save for myself.
Oh, there's some language in this.
Confidence obviously is a big part of who you are. I mean,
So, yeah.
there's not many fighters that would stand up here in front of reporters and pick their nose and do what you do. Have you always been this confident? Is it something that just you grew up with, or was there a time in your life where
Definitely didn't grow up with it. I think it's just accepting. We all pick our noses. You all take a shit, don't you? We all fucking have sex, but somehow in this day and age, everyone likes to. I bet you, Joanna couldn't do this,
He's correct.
or Wei Ling Zhang couldn't do this. Why?
Correct.
It's a nipple. It's a fucking nipple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do you get what I mean? I can do
No,
this because
I
I'm a
don't.
man.
I don't get what you mean.
It's International Women's Month.
Correct.
But they can't do that because they're women. Everyone likes titties. Everyone sucked on titty when they was a kid.
See?
You know, so everyone likes to act like this. There's this fucking weird.
Right.
filter with
It's
TV
a
and
difference.
person
I get the
Oh
point.
no! Keep going. He
Let's
stops
protect the
cussing.
minds of the children. It's like
Yeah.
kids are smarter than you think. I have real conversation with kids, and I'm just like,
Real conversation.
I don't have to censor myself around you because you're smart enough to comprehend what I'm saying and how I'm saying. You know, but yeah, I'll do it again just because I know I can because I'm a man.
Well, let's stay on that, though.
Let's
You
stay on his
mentioned
nipple.
International
Yeah,
Women's
okay.
Month and about what the women can and cannot do. What do you think about it?
I don't have to have like a nipple fucking like Janet Jackson, you know,
Yeah.
to not do that.
Yeah.
But like it's like,
They
it's so
call it
stupid.
breast milk.
What do
they
you
don't
think about
call it-
your co-main event, Whaley and Joanna,
okay, here we
and
go.
the fact?
That's already happened.
Like a real quick.
That's already happened. But
So I did ask him about International Women's Month and how
Wow.
he felt about the UFC positioning women in the promotion and compared to other combat sports. And he actually had something interesting to say. He was like, listen, UFC is doing a great job as opposed to boxing. We see Clarissa Shields out there trying to promote.
Mhm.
But he said, everybody owes some homage to Ronda Rousey because Dana said that he didn't want women in it, said he couldn't come. And Ronda actually blazed a trail, and he was like, that fight with Zhang and Joanna
Mhm.
is going to be a cracker. These are his words. Okay,
Mhm.
he said it.
That it's gonna
And
be a
that,
cracker.
yeah, he's out there. Yeah, that's what he said, and that it was going to steal the night, and he was correct. But yeah, we're in a pandemic, and the man is out there wiping boogers. That's why I said, athletes can be quite nasty. Those locker rooms are filled with snot rockets, and I would not be shocked if a handful of those UFC or MMA fighters come up with the Rona.
That was
Quan,
quite
did
the
you? So
interview.
you were in the scrum before I got over there. Like, did you see the visitor?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I
Even
didn't
in
see
our
it.
video we took, I think it's on Gorilla Cross. You could see it the whole time. But I didn't want to be the one to point that out. It's like he's already going. If he doesn't feel it in there, then
You don't feel it. Hey, we just.
I mean, hey.
The handler should have handed him should have been like, hold up, guys, here you go tissue. Like, don't.
And that's
put
kind
no
of
more
what they
video.
should do, right? I mean,
Right. If it was
Right.
me, Izzy, I'd have had your back because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So, but I carry all kinds of wet wipes and stuff in my purse. I even got an aspirator. You know what an aspirator is? So it's usually use it with babies. It looks like a bulb.
Yeah.
You stick it up their nose
Okay.
and then it.
We used
Yeah.
to call it the boogie snatcher.
Yeah, I
Sound like
got
something
one.
different, but yeah.
I got one. I got a boogie
Again,
snatcher.
little darlings. That's
Little
something
dar-
different.
I bet you they
Aspirator.
they got some
the
boogie.
aspirator.
I think that's what it's called. You know, what is it? Did they call it a boogie snatcher? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what we called it.
Yeah.
Because what else are you gonna call it? Okay, so but you know what? I'm with them. International, Women's Day.
It's still
and
Women's
things
Month.
like
It's still International Women's Month, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's International Women's Time every time. Around here. On
in a show of solidarity with you. Go ahead, Quan. Lift your shirt up, show your nipple.
I want to see
Are
any
you
more
watching?
nipples. No, I want to see any more nipples.
I would do it, but
No,
see,
you do it, but no.
see, that's hate.
I did.
You need to spread the love.
I have mace and a taser. So,
What are you gonna do? Spray my nipples?
both hands. Both hands. Stop both of y'all.
All right then. Okay, the next one up is going to be. What do you think?
Who this? So one of the things that I was thinking about this week is that there are so many fighters who and promoters. They just pour the whole heart and soul into their work. You got a lot of people depending on you, and you have your camps, and then you have other folks who are carrying other baggage. And you think about someone like Walt Harris, whose daughter was senselessly murdered by a guy who was out on parole for another murder charge. And so Walt is on a card in April.
It was supposed to happen
Next week.
It's one of the Apex ones that got
Yeah.
canceled.
Yeah.
So a guy like Walt, who was just itching to get back, that's probably all he could do to take his mind off of the tragedy.
Right.
And he doesn't get that fight. So I did ask him at 248 kind of if the daughter, the stepdaughter who had passed, Anaya, had ever gone to any of his fights. So that's what we got.
Had Naya ever been in an arena when you were fighting, and will the family be there when
Yeah.
you were there?
Oh
next
man,
time?
the support for this one I think is gonna be bigger than I've ever had. My family's traveling. My family always travels, but I got friends and I got a lot.
Oh.
That video was cut short.
Oh,
Okay.
got me editing stuff. That's what had happened. But yeah. So she had been to several of his fights. He had a whole group of family members that were coming out to this next one, and I think just as much as Walt needed it, the family needed that boost of energy and that one
Right.
thing to unite
Right.
around. And so it's not just guys and gals getting in there, kicking somebody's head in and earning a paycheck.
Right.
These moments for them really kind of about lifeblood. And
Yeah. And we talk about it often, but I mean, we a lot of times, if it's an NFL player, no one blinks an eye. If it's an NBA player, no
Yeah.
one really blinks an eye. But because of what these men and women do in boxing and MMA, they normally, a lot of people turn up their nose to it and go, oh, well, these people are just punching and kicking each other in the head or whatever. But you don't know what a lot of these fighters are supporting family members. A lot of these fighters are, they're human beings. They're going through things. I mean, Walt Harris, like you said, this was going to be that outlet for him. This was going to be that, that healing thing that's, bringing his family together through this tragedy. And now they don't, you have to kind of push reset on that.
Yeah.
Like, when is the next time we're going to get to do this? You're amping yourself up to a certain level, getting ready for this, these things to happen, and it suddenly doesn't get to happen. Which can be, it's people reliving tragedies all over again.
Yeah, because now you can't just actually be laser focused on getting into the octagon. Now,
Right.
now everything else is entering in your mind, and so I feel really badly for Walt and dozens, thousands of others who are caught up in this. So.
Right.
Next one, let's have a little levity. So, Dominance Media, who is headed up by Ali, one of the managers to a lot of champions in MMA, not just UFC. There's PFL involved there too. So I talked to Henry Cejudo, and Henry is always a lot of fun. Can I actually hold one of these belts just to see how heavy it is? Oh damn! Damn!
That's 14 pounds of gold right there.
It's how much?
14 pounds of gold.
I can say I've held 14 pounds. I had a 9-pound baby, 2 9-pound babies, but I haven't. This feels like a baby here.
It's like a baby and a half.
A So how important I'm going to give it back to you because,
Take your belts
I've
back,
been working on my biceps, but you the athlete, not me.
This is the best workout. This is the best workout a man could do right here. Is hold these babies. It's almost like holding kids, honestly.
It is. That's why I said I've had 9-pound babies, but that's heavier than just babies. I'm certain. So watching the flyweight division, you said earlier that you've basically saved that division. What did you think about the fights last weekend, and what do you think about the future for Joseph?
I thought it was good. I think it was a storyline. I think that fight even brought more attention to the division because Figueiredo didn't make weight. Joe was favored to win it. Joe lost. There's no belt. Well, actually, it's right here. But it's just good. I think any attention to the flyweight division, whether it's good or bad, it's starting just to all become good. And I think just for the future for Joe is, Joe will forever be a warrior, man. I think it's all up to him. It's all up to him and going out the season with his. As of right now, I'm happy at the 135-pound weight division. I don't like cutting weight. I hate cutting weight. So I'm enjoying all these other guys scrap.
So obviously Peter Yan's been saying your name. You guys have been going back and forth a little bit. What are you feeling about the future of that possibility of that fight?
Peter Yan has got to get through a killer and Marlon Moraes first. He needs to beat top contenders before he starts calling out Triple C. You can't be a 41-year-old that was retired for 3 years and thinking because you stopped that you deserve a title shot. Dude, get real, Peter Yan.
You fought Marlon. Why do you think he's underestimating Marlon?
I think probably because of the pressure. I think I felt like I kind of gave that, broke that code a little bit. Pressure kills, and seen him with Aldo, and that's how Yan fights. Yan is he's a goer. He's gonna pressure the whole time. He's gonna scrap you out. So it is. It's gonna be a good fight though.
Tonight's fight with Wei Zhang and Joanna.
He's always good for some smack talk, right? Now, just so y'all know, 135 pounds. He packs a whole lot of power in, this little morsel. It's a little nugget. That flyweight division is filled with tough guys.
Hey, man, 135 pounds of solid muscle, man.
It's filled with tough guys.
Some of the toughest guys around are those smaller guys.
Yeah.
I mean, quick like a hiccup. That'll hit you about 8 times.
Coming at you
and
with
kick
their
your head
forehead.
before you even realize what the hell is going on.
Those belts are heavy.
Yeah. Both of these children was 9 pounds.
9 pounds. He was 9.1
Good
pounds. A
Lord.
little bitty headed boy. Yeah.
C-sections?
Yeah.
So she got a name Cece.
Not because it was really by my choice. I had some prior surgeries, and they were like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to
There you go. Mazel.
yeah, we're gonna have to split you where we didn't mit you."
All right. So,
I don't even know what that means.
well, we're going to use that to transition to
Who this?
Kamaru Usman.
Oh,
Kamaru
Kamaru. Yeah.
Usman. What was happening with Mr. Usman here?
Kamaru is got
Kamaru.
his cast off, and he's ready to go.
All right.
So, Kamaru, you're on stage with champions representing multiple different disciplines and multiple different promotions. How do you feel right now taking your place amongst the champions in the world?
I feel amazing because this is what you work for. This is what you want all your life, and now I'm here, so it feels good to get that
Got it from the
validation.
bottom.
Outside of getting the validation, because you earned the strap, what's been happening in your life since you become champion that kind of validates the journey for you?
You hear a lot of champions say, man, it's harder to stay there. Now that I'm champion, I see why that is, because, the obligations and things that you have to do and travel, it makes it difficult. Because back when I was chasing the title, I could just stay home and train all day. I could, I didn't have to travel every other weekend and go somewhere in this. That was valuable training times that I was to catch up to the champion. So now that you're the champion, you have to make those travels. And I know there's guys working to try to catch me, and they're closing the gap.
I mean, in addition to your training, you've got a young daughter.
Absolutely. And of course, time away from my daughter. I love spending time with my daughter. And so, she's my little buddy. She's my best friend, you know. So being able to be there and really pour into her, and these are important times in her life. She's 5 years old, and so, you know, things that you don't give them credit for remembering, they remember all the time now. So, you know, being there and being able to, you know, pour into her and let her know that this is what Daddy expects and this is how to do things the right way, you know, this is very important to me.
I talked to a couple of the other champions, and the word legacy keeps coming up. What's the difference for you between being a champ and actually building a legacy?
Well, legacy is not something that I worry about. It's something that's bestowed upon you once your body of work is once you're done with your body of work. So, you know, that's all I aim to do. I remember at one point I was 5-1, and I was thinking, man, these guys are 20-1, 20-0. You know, how am I ever gonna get there to where I blinked and now I'm here 16-1? And so, you know, it's a matter of just staying focused, continue to do the work, and when you're done, everyone's gonna be like, wow, look at your legacy.
Yeah, you know, what's the song? Started from the bottom, now we here. Like, you think about that, like sometimes, like, wow, you know, I really did start from the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about it, but you know, it gets a little cloudy when you're down there at the bottom, you know. But at some point, I had the vision, and I could see the vision, and now it's here, and it's, you know, we're not all the way there yet. You know, we're still climbing.
You know, when you fought Kobe, your walkout song was just so dope. Can you tell me what that song was? What did it mean?
That was Burna Boy. That was Anybody by Burna Boy, one of the best and one of the hottest Afrobeat artists right now in the world. And it was just a song that I'm a very musical guy. I love all types of genres of music, and that was a song that spoke to me. You know, him just talking about, you know, it's anybody. You know, I don't have to. You know, I've changed my energy. You know, I changed my energy for the better. You know, whatever people are saying, whatever people are doing, blah blah blah. That's not affecting me. You know. And I walked out, and it was just a moment in the song when Burna Boy first hits that anybody, you know, it just spoke to me in my heart, and I was ready to go.
That's really cool. Camaro is not a guy that's going to sit there and like do the dozens with you and talk smack. He's just about that action, boss. That's just his thing. But he's a very deliberate kind of guy. He's doing things that he's putting something else in motion.
Yeah.
So the song meant something to him. And for him to say like, hey, when I wasn't champ, like I could be training to be champ. And now, you know, it's eating into his time. But you know, like he talked about his daughter and how she remembers things. The first thing your daughter's going to tell you is how you messed up. Like you weren't here. Where were you? I needed this. You ain't do that.
Yeah, I've learned that from my daughter.
Yeah,
hear that on a daily.
Little girls are different, man.
Oh man, they're on a different level. And the final one is a real quick
That's like
clip from the world's heavyweight champion Tyson Fury.
Let me set this up. This was the press conference where they had the fisticuffs, and then Deontay Wilder said some really like disrespectful things to him.
Right.
And Tyson Fury
called him a cokehead and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, he had so many people in front of him, and he was hot, sweating profusely. And at one point, he was like, "Hey, back the F up, all y'all." Had to get people up off of him for a minute, and I was just watching it. Watching all of it happen.
Whoa,
Nope.
whoa.
Well, we've had a good show, folks.
Y'all know. I always have some kind of frog in my throat. This is what happens, you know. We'll spray. It's all this damn Lysol in here.
Uh-huh.
All right, so he's telling people to back up.
Telling people to back up, but everyone wants to know, like, okay, you're this advocate for mental health, and you've been, you know, an advocate for people, and I was like, I'm watching this, I'm like, who does he have? And so that's how that happened.
Okay.
Tyson, you talk about fighting for the oppressed and people who need someone in their corner. Who's your Tyson Fury then? Who does that for you?
You know, my influence is God. I take a lot of inspiration from God. And
yeah, because that clip ended abruptly because there was the handlers are like, we gotta go, there's enough. And so that all you heard was all that beefing at the end of it. But I asked his brother.
It's a great clip. All of our clips should be that long.
You know, I got some short ones. His brother was there with him, And so Shane, and I said to Shane right after, I was like, hey, this is the question. Did a child just fall out the chair? See, this why. This why, Lord Jesus. This why. So if they're not spilling goldfish, they are falling out of the chair.
Okay. All right.
So I asked Shane, I said, this is what your brother said. And I was like, who does he have? And he was like, yeah, it's Jesus Christ. I was like, but when he's going through something, do you keep each other's counsel? He was like, for a long time, we didn't know what he was going through. So really, all he had was that, and so it was consistent with what the brother said. So I believe him that it's real, and that's what he does, and that's who he relies on.
And I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago during the actual fight week. That he's become this light for mental health and mental wellness in these sports that doesn't like to admit weakness on anything.
Yeah.
And that's professional sports in general. We're still struggling with that, but especially so much in combat sports that, you see it happen, right? A guy opens himself up and says, I've had these problems. I struggle with depression. I've struggled with drugs and all these other things. And that's fodder. That's fodder for your opponents. Deontay Wilder go out there and say, oh, you're a cokehead. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, whatever, and it's easy to, I guess it's easy for fighters to say, no, I don't want to put that out there because then they're just going to give that back to me or whatever. But he's, the world heavyweight champion, and he's embraced this.
He's embraced it, and there's a little controversy around Mr. Fury these days. I don't know if you had heard, but there is not a trainer, like a guy who swept the floor, somebody who is involved in an alleged drug sample. And yeah, this is I think it's in the Daily Mail. So you got to be careful with sourcing the Daily Mail because it ain't much different than the Inquirer. Although, like
The New York
TMZ, they
Post.
have actually broken some stories. But there is an investigation going on right now in that it is alleged that the Fury camp told this individual to corroborate their story. So we might be hearing a little bit more about that in the coming days.
Yeah, well,
Foodaboo-boo.
it's always something. Oh, I'll give something to talk about.
Always something. We
There you
also have another bit of boxing news. Franchon Cruz, the middleweight women's champion. So she fought Alejandra Jimenez, and who used to be a heavyweight and then got all the way down to, 154 pounds in a short amount of time. Ended up peeing hot twice, a sample.
We were all shocked. I know I was.
Yeah, you look at that photo and you
Jimenez is huge. Huge. Huge.
Just all muscle. B sample, dirty. And so the WBC has told Franchon Cruz that they're not going to just give her belts back. They are going to have her fight for an interim belt, and they're going to allow Jimenez to continue to dispute the tainted samples.
That is dirty.
They really just want her to keep paying that money for that strap.
I'm really sick of interim belts, man. I wish they would scrap it from combat sports. It's getting really. UFC is the king of it.
Yeah.
Interim on interim on interim, but the alphabet already has splintered boxing so much, and now they're adding interims, and
It's terrible.
if fighters are peeing hot and they're still like, oh no, we're still gonna do interim belts. Come on, man.
It's like,
That is-
say what now?
That
She's
is
gotta-
some horrible stuff.
She gotta fight for it again, like you stole
She got to
it.
re-earn it again, which she never should have lost it
You
the first
stole
place.
it the first time. It's so incongruent with what the WBC does because they do a lot of good in the community where WBC cares. But man, their whole strap situation is a hot, glorified
Removing
mess.
champions from, stripping champions of belts and then giving them a franchise champion designation just so they can put the
doo-doo.
belts on someone else, just so they can have fights with titleists, to move pay-per-views and stuff.
In LA, there's this
Yikes.
this scheme, I guess you would call it, where people rent not rooms, but apartments. These apartment building owners, and they have the application scheme. You got to pay $50 per adult to just apply. Now they know that they already going to rent it or they're going to rent to someone else, but they need to hit their number. Like maybe they want to make $1,000, so they're going to take all these application fees. That's what the WBC is doing, taking application fee money.
Absolutely. He absolutely no. That whole organization. That's for a different show. That's for a different show, man. Because we run into the end of it, and it's I got an old man scream at him.
We got slow down. Is that what it's for?
Yeah. Before we go, sad news with the passing of Floyd Mayweather's uncle Roger Mayweather at 58 on the 17th, a couple of days ago. Super sad, man. At one time, one of the best trainers in the world, hands down. And he was a great fighter in his own right. Held a couple of titles, world titles, and of course, training his nephew, Floyd Mayweather, to become one of the greatest of all time. Really sad. But I know you spend a lot of time in and around the Mayweathers.
Yeah, not as of late, but Roger had been ill.
Yeah.
And, no one had really seen him for a while. At least, not in like mass gatherings. I think the family and the close circle had. And so, sadly for him, he hadn't been well and deteriorated in the past couple of years. And so, I mean, the family's going through some things also with the passing of Floyd's, the mother of 3 of his kids, Josie Harris, and then Roger. So, hoping for some peace for those folks.
I mean, Roger had an incredible career, which Floyd later said probably led to a lot of his health problems later on in life. But, I mean, he fought from 81 to 99.
Yeah.
Won titles, junior lightweight and junior welterweight. He faced Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. twice, Pernell Whitaker, Livingston Bramble, Vinny Paz, Rocky Lockridge. Yeah, a lot of high level fights, and holding those titles for a couple of years apiece. But he was a scrapper.
Yeah,
he was a great boxer, but he was a scrapper too.
He was also part of Floyd's defense in building that type of skill for him, and it's really sustained his career, I think, by installing that for him. And so, Floyd has said he owes him a debt of gratitude for that. So,
in his professional career, his record 59-13 with 35 KOs. My man had some wicked power, and he is the original Black Mamba.
Yeah.
And won his first title in '83 when he knocked out Serrano, and then he was on the upper echelon for the next decade or so.
Yeah.
So our condolences out to the Mayweather family, which I haven't spent as much time at Mayweather Gym lately as I used to, but all those guys up there, I know they're hurting, and our condolences to that entire family. So
absolutely.
Hate to end it on that kind of note.
Hey,
they all can't be little darling stories.
They all can't be. I'm gonna drive past it on the way back, see how that drive-through is going.
Take some video. If there's people out there video, because you might see a congressman out there.
Congressman in the drive-thru. They ain't got nothing else to do.
They
closed down everything but the strip clubs. Amazing.
They are essential businesses. There's non-essential, like I don't know.
Chipotle.
Chiropractor's office, Chipotle. And then there's essential, like Little Darlings, Gorilla Cross Studios.
Yeah.
Things like that. So here we go.
Here we go. Hey, y'all be careful out there. Be safe.
It's getting crazy. You think it's going to start dying down, and every day is a new day. So
they just locked down California.
Yeah, California. The note came across the wire just a few minutes ago, locking down the second largest state in the union as far as population.
Jeez.
So good luck controlling 40 million people, I guess. So that's it for the show. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with UFC. We'll see what happens at WWE. Every day is like a lifetime now.
We got some content for you. We got some stuff coming up that'll
we got some good stuff.
Keep your attention.
Yeah. So tune in right back here, Gorilla Cross Studios. All their great shows. Let the Ball Bounce. Our guys, Goose Thomas, Dre Bailey. Girl Chat Sports with Mo and Mel, which we may not see Mo. I hear she's very very against this virus. She's voting no against virus. Unnamed sports show and all these great shows. They'll keep you going until they chain the doors. I guess we're going to be doing shows.
We'll be here.
We'll be doing it. So for the Sportsnista, Quan 59, I'm Jeremy Long. This is Levels. We'll see you next week.